Well, hello and welcome to PM Express. It's that time of the evening where you should be sat back, relaxed, and waiting for what the conversation will be. So thank you very much for tuning in. And indeed, today we have one subject which is very, very dear to my heart. If you have followed me, I've always gone on and on and on about it, about the people who are championing it. And we are talking about curbing population growth. It's something that does not sit well with us at all, because clearly God has mandated us to multiply and fill the earth like the sands on the seashore. So here we are with the population couple telling us to limit families to 3 children, or tax them, fine them, whatever it is that we have to do. We don't know yet, but somehow bring a policy to limit the number of children that families have, probably according to their income or economic status. And that's become a debate. It's 2 schools of thought. There are those who do not agree and those who do agree. But the bottom line is the growth sustainable? Is there any country in this world growing above 2%? That has anything to write home about? Maybe you can do your own Google or go to Wikipedia and check if there's any nation at all in this world growing 2% and above that has something to write home about. So maybe you need to go back and look at the numbers. But somehow we in Africa, we in Ghana know that God is on our side and that Nyame ehwe mmofra. So we should produce and God will look after the children. And that's the discussion on the table today, to find out as to continue or to reduce the great schools of thoughts. Don't go away. My name is Nana Ansakwa IV, Chief of the Little Republic of Akwemo Edumasa. When I come back, we are trying to see how it is that we curb our population. Well, thank you very much for staying. My guest today, Dr. Appiah, Executive Director, National Population Council. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let me say you are at it again. You are recommending 3 children per family, per woman, according to the economic status or something. What is it that you want done?
Thank you so much, Nana. Yes, I think there's a little miscommunication. You know, when we talk about total fertility rate, we talk about the woman, because it's the woman that delivers. We talk about maternal mortality, it's the women who die in childbirth. So total fertility rate is mainly about women. So the chiefs who are at loggerheads with me, they can have 10 wives because it's the women that we talk about. You know, Nana, policy gives direction, and policy is always evidence-based. Why will the police tell you to go 80 kilometers per hour? Because it's proven that at 80 kilometers per hour, even if there's an accident, the fatality is not that high. In 1830, a Belgian statistician came out with a BMI. The BMI gives you the normal body weight. You know, that is your height versus your weight, the normal body weight. In 1830, we in Africa said no. For us, affluence is big back, big stomach, big that, you know. So we threw the BMI away till we realized that it was catching up with us, you know. So that is how it is. Scientists come out with indicators to help us, to help the human race, you know. And statisticians and scientists have come out with a replacement level fertility. You understand? Okay. Yes, which, just like the BMI, like the HB, like whatever indicator, if you live within, you have an improved health, you know. So it is important that we look at those things. I mean, we can wish them away, that's okay. You don't have to stay within your BMI. Some people are obese, some are, nobody is arresting anybody for anything. You get it. So that should be the basis on which we understand. Now, talking about me saying that total fertility rate of 3, every woman should have 3 children. Nana, I think the government gives us compulsory basic education. Yeah. The government does not give us master's education. The government does not give us PhD. It doesn't mean that you can't have a double PhD if you want. It just means that the government will not pay for a double PhD because the government thinks that compulsory basic education, it's what you need as a minimum for everybody. Then you can come up. So it is important that we look at things in that regard because I don't think that the government's resources are limitless. You know, they are not limitless. So we need roads, we would need good hospitals, and then we should also think about service provision because quality is important. If it is quality that we want, then we should look at how to reproduce. If it is in the numbers too, then I think we're doing pretty well at that. So that is the balance that we have to look at. There's always a balance between reproduction and production, which is a very thin line. Like the chemist will tell you, you know, you take the base and the acid, you titrate it, it gets to a very specific level before you get the salt and water. So that is it. So life is a balancing. I'm just telling us what the policy says.
But why 3?
It is, you know, researchers have come that births, the high birth orders are risky. The higher the birth order, the higher the maternal mortality. Above 3, maternal mortality is high. So you will see that the Westerners have maternal mortality rates of nothing because their total fertility rate is also within normal ranges. You get it? So it is a it has economic, health, and all implications. So it has a health implication. Even in a demographic and health survey report, it's stated there. You know, there are some demographic risk. Teenagers getting pregnant, births before 6 months, optimal birth spacing is between 2 and 4 years. High birth orders, some put it at 40 years, some put it at 34 years, and then births above 4. So this is what policymakers normally use to inform policy. Just like the police will say 80 kilometers per hour. Or you go to the hospital and the doctor will tell you your BP is 120/70 is the norm. You know, 120/70 is the norm, but you have people walking about with 140, 100, and at times higher BPs. So that is it. That is the...
So your concern, was it with population explosion or your concern was with the health of the women?
But the issue is that a healthy nation has healthy people. The health of the nation determines the health, the health of the people determines the health of the nation. And I think that we all want to be first world. Because for me, Nana, when I sit and watch TV and see blacks being, dying on the seas and then people migrating from places and being on the streets, I don't think that it augurs well for anybody because we are so interconnected that it is extremely difficult to be very happy when others around you are not happy. I don't know about others, but for me, I think that everybody has, God in the person. So everybody has dignity. So we have to treat human beings with dignity and with respect.
Well, Professor Stephen Kwanche, this is on my Joy Online, has suggested that the proposed mode for controlling population growth is a cosmetic approach and cannot materialize. He was speaking on CTFM on Wednesday, and Professor argued that the very people who are expected to make such litigations are guilty of the same crimes because they themselves have 5 or 6 or more children.
You can have 6 or more children, but you see, me as a public servant, and Prof. Kwanche knows, as a public servant, the Public Service Commission, my condition of service, it takes care of 3 of my children. 3, that's the Public Service Commission. So it doesn't say that I can't have 5 children, but the Public Service Commission takes care of 3. That is the condition of service, of 3. You know, and Prof. Kwanche was one time the Executive Director of the National Population Council. So if the policy was not okay, you should have
scrapped it.
Scrapped it.
Okay, so if government comes up with say, okay, look, I'm going to look after 3 of your children, which means for every woman, you can have 3 of your kids enjoying free education. If you have 5 and 6, you pay for them to go to school.
That is what organizations do. Talk to other organizations like GASEMS and other organizations. That's what they do.
They don't allow you to go and have limited children.
They don't allow you to go and have limitless number of children. You understand? They say we can take it. Even the World Bank gives conditionalities for everything. You understand? So, but if you just leave it like that, the issue is me as a medic. After 10, the woman can even die in birth and then leave orphans then what happens to them? What happens to the orphans?
So you're thinking a policy like that would then let people sit at home and think, look, Akusia, let's just have the 3 because we can't afford, school fees, or we can't afford 2, 3 children. So let's be responsible so that we can enjoy free education, maybe free NHIS and free this, since we are obsessed with free.
Nana, do you think that if somebody is having the 4th child and full cost recovery, NHIS is not supporting the woman or the couple for that child, they can sell the child for 25 Ghana cedis? It doesn't make sense. It really does not make sense that you would want a child, pay for the child, go for in vitro, go for whatever, and then just leave the child like that. So that if you want to have 4 or 5, which you're entitled to, then it means that you want the child, and that child's right will be respected. Mm-hmm. That child is God. So you cannot have that child and 10 years ask the child to go have sex and take care of herself because you wanted it. But if it is free, then you will not put the value that the child needs on that child. So it is important that we look at it very critically, because they are a human resource. In 10, 20 years, we will not be sitting here. They will be at the helm of affairs, So we have to be careful how we treat them. And for me, I think we have to put a high price on the children. They have to be very expensive. They have to be treated, they are competing with others. They are competing globally. And when we all go out, we see how children are treated. So how are they going to compete from such a compromised situation?
Do you think it's a feasible policy that government would one day put in place to see that it would help government in terms of, budget-wise, and do you think the population would respond?
Well, let's have the discussion. Nana, I remember when I was growing up in Newtown, we had this incandescent lights, and the electricity bill was nothing. At 6 o'clock, we as children would go around and put on all the lights. Because it was free, basically. And then the government said, now we're giving you energy saving. We made noise. We changed to energy saving. And then they came and said, prepaid. We still made noise, but they changed to prepaid. And then the last time I was having a discussion with one of my uncles who had a problem with his prepaid, and they brought him the postpaid, and he was complaining. He said, I don't want the postpaid. I want the prepaid. Because you see, the prepaid, even when I forget and put the lights on, it's just my money that will be wasted. I won't incur any more debt. But then with the postpaid,
you can end up with a surprise.
You can end up with a surprise bill, So I think that we just have to have the people's interest at heart. And I don't think that I would ever want to be on the street. And I don't wish that for anybody. I don't think I would ever want to be on the street. We have to make family planning easily available, accessible, and let women know that it inures to their benefit. And let's treat children with dignity and with respect. That's what the Bible says.
How holistic should this program be? Because I know one thing which doesn't balance is how many women get family planning compared to how many children get immunized. And you look at other countries where it normally on par, maybe 70, 80, 90, 100, So if we are bringing in this policy where if you have more than 3 kids, well, it's your palaver. You can have as many as you want, but you pay for it.
That's it.
Would you want family planning to be part of such a holistic policy, and how would it look like?
And family planning should be free, accessible, and available. Family planning, like you rightly said, family planning and immunization are 2 sides of a coin. They go together. It's just like you can't go far hopping on 1 leg, but then when you put 2 legs together, you can go very far. If Hussein Bolt decides to hop on 1 leg, a 5-year-old can outrun him. That is the importance of family planning in all these issues, especially with immunization. So family planning would even help us take better care of the children, because if you're not getting pregnant in quick succession, you can breastfeed for 2 years, which is good for the child, and then you can have time for that child. Then you can also grow old and be grandparents. Grandparents are critical in everybody's life, in societal life. But we don't have grandparents anymore, because on Saturdays we bury all our young people, 60 gone and things like that. You know, so it is important that we look at the whole spectrum and treat the human being from cradle to the grave with dignity. That's what I think.
Let's hear what you on the streets also think about it.
To make for the people to understand, several things have to happen. You should make education reasonably accessible, which we are trying to do with the SHS program. You should make other information about health and children's health, especially maternal mortality and things like that, easily available. And NHI, when President Kufuor introduced it, was one of the things. Maternity was made free, you remember that. Well, if you make maternity free and you don't make family planning available and set the reasonable, then what you are saying to women is, just have the children. Society, the country will help look after the children, but society will not be able to look after so many children all the time. And the children have to be educated. So what other countries did was to see to it that, as I said, education was accessible and free. Family planning services and information were very much understood and accessible for everybody. And then the services were free, but they were free for up to a certain number. Singapore, when they did this, if your first 2 children will be having everything free, including maternity care. But after number 2, you have to take care of them yourself. You pay for education and so on. And all she is suggesting is, let's make this a social goal. Let us do the things like education and women's empowerment and so on. But you cannot go on and develop the country with roads and all the things we want to see in the shortest possible time if you make fertility just a number you want, anytime.
The great Professor Sai there, I think he's kind of summed it all up and he's brought you all home, because you can't go and have 10 children and say, well, you look after them, I've had 10 kids. Wow. Hopefully production will give me, open the phone line so we hear what others are saying, from get a feel from what people think it is, because we have this sense that, listen, we own the country. It's our resources, it's our taxes. Therefore, you have to look after my children. You don't limit me. I mean, I want 6 kids. I'm a Ghanaian. Please, the state has to own up and do something.
Nana, do you know something? And do you know who is paying? It's you and I. The middle class is the most, they are paying. Let me show you how we are paying. You pay your taxes. It means you are supporting the free SHS. Meanwhile, you take your children to private schools. You pay NHIS. Meanwhile, the hospitals are full, so you go to private. You pay your road, toll, everything. You don't use the public transport. You have your own car that you drive, And because people are, become a bit irresponsible with their children, you at home are not secured. So after paying for their delivery, paying for their school, paying for their health, you have to build walls to stay in. And then when there's a death in the family, who do they fall on? You. And if the woman dies whilst delivering, you bury the woman and then they give the children back to you to take care of. So you see, and then government taxes us more to take care of that. So yes, I believe that, yes, we should be taxed, but then we should help people to also come up. Instead of, I think probably at times we are just too lenient to
pro-poor policies.
Exactly, And we just have to have the discussion, because for me, human beings will always resist everything. Even when we were coming to the world, we resisted. We still wanted to be in our mother's wombs. We resisted coming. And now we don't want to go back. When we went to class 1, we resisted. We cried our heads off. But now, we don't want to sit home. So that is it, let's have the debate and let's see whether it will help us or not. But like you said, The countries in the world are not many. And if you are interested, you can just look at it. There is no country with a growth rate of 2% and above that has developed to be, Netherlands or those countries that we always want to go to. So we can also make it happen here if we really want to.
I mean, you've been in the system for quite some time, and we are culturally inclined and believe in our things and believe in our Bible and everything. Is this something that we can adopt here?
I mean, the Bible gives us 70 years. The Bible gives us prosperous lives. The Bible gives us peace. When I read my Bible, I only see outcomes. You know, the New Testament gives us processes. If you look at the commandments, thou shalt not, plenty, thou shalt not, that you can forget some of them. But then God summed it all up in the Old New Testament and gave us just two: love your neighbor, love God. Love God and love your neighbor. You know, and those are outcomes. So for me, when I read the Bible, I see the outcomes. The processes are not given. He's giving us prosperous life, good life, healthy life, 70 years. So he tells you what to do to get, he doesn't tell you what to do to get there. He just gives you the outcome. So we have to take the steps.
Let me put the number out, because I really want to get your input on this, because it's very technical. 0302 211 691 or 692, 0302 211 691 or 692. You at home, if there was a policy to say you can have 3 children, and for the first 3 they get free education, free Metro Mass, free NHIS, free whatever it is, and then after 3 you pay for it, what would you do? I mean, is this something that would encourage you to stay within the 3? Or actually, it doesn't even encourage whether you stay within the 3 or not. The nation doesn't bother, is it?
It doesn't bother.
So at least we can budget and not have that limit. I'll send you a message that I got from Imani today, which was quite revealing, right? And it says it's quite frankly shocking when Education Ministry and its accolades make the claim that there is no data predicting the current enrollment figures. Associates of Imani were contracted in their private capacities in 2012 to conduct scenarios for free SHS into 2020 and advised on the policy. They completed and handed over the work in the hope that should the policy be deployed, the policy paper will guide an implementation. Now, what it says is that from 2016 to 2020, and 2018, the assumption of 70% pass rate, 425,000 students from the potential 637,000 were going to need free SHS. Now, do take the look at the Ministry of Education data of expected enrollment. 2018 is 427,000. One can say additional prospects of 30,000 that missed the boat in 2017, or just those who were now ready for the accounts. And then they gave me the figures here, which is fantastic. 2017, 592,000. 2018, they expected 637,000. 2019, 682,000. And 2020, 732,000. So
we're just increasing.
We are hitting 1 million.
So we're going
all free.
Yes, we're going to unsustainability.
Let's take a quick break, and when I come back, I hear you out. Well, that's a very interesting debate, and even on the break, it continued. And apparently, right here at Multimedia, even the healthcare caters for 3 children. And so, you can go more. They don't stop you, but you just take your children to the hospital. You don't come and give them a headache. You don't come and give them a headache. And then another thing that came up was that in 60 years, Singapore has added 4 million people to their population. We've added about 25 million in the same period. And so within 60 years, we have to find money to look after 25 million people. where they have to look after 4 million. That's quite significant. But joining us on the phone now is Dr. Kojo Sega. Okay, come later. So it makes, I think if you put it like that, it sort of brings it home. That so they have a big we have a big responsibility. But is population bad?
No, population is not bad. Like food is not bad, but you don't overindulge in it. It's sin in the Bible, you know. So population is not bad. Population is good, but you don't overindulge in it.
Why don't say? I mean, 30 million of it, we are not overindulging.
No, it's not the numbers. It is not the numbers. It's the structure. You know, when Mauritius put in an aggressive population policy, they were about 700,000, just 700,000, and now Mauritius is less than 2 million. But Mauritius has one of the highest life expectancy in Africa. You know, so it's not the numbers, it is the structure. Even though there were 700,000, they were growing at a rate of between 3 and 4%, which was too fast. So it's the rate of growth that counts, not the numbers.
But one would say, like, I mean, if we can produce more, we have more labor and, you know, more people to work to, I don't know. Or
you see, the issue is that I think we always confuse human resource and human capital.
Okay.
Human resource is when you are born, you're a human being, you're born. But then the capital is what society takes you through to transform you to be the capital. I mean, to be the doctor, the engineer, which takes time. You can't do it overnight, you know. So to transforming the human resource to human capital is where the issue is. So for the human resource, we all have human resource. But then the transformation, you know.
From resource to capital.
From resource to capital. That is where the issue is. You see, I'm a Catholic. And then when the priest takes the bread, he says, earth has given and human hands have made. And that is the communion. So earth gives and the human hands make. So the human resource God has given. But then we, human beings, in the image of God, will have to turn that human resource to human capital.
So Doc, then, should we just let people produce and then we turn them into capital, I don't know, as quickly as they reproduce? Or
the issue is that you cannot train a doctor within a year. You cannot be a professional within a certain period of time. It takes this length, you know, and all is research-based. People say, research says that for you to be transformed to capital, you take not less than 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours to transform you to, I mean, to be a professional. So if you're having children every now and then, what time will you have to transform? What we also need to know critically is that, you see, God gave everybody 24 hours in a day. 24 hours. Singapore, Ghana, China, everywhere 24 hours. So if the Chinese are having 1 or 2 children, and the Westerners are having 1 or 2 children, and training them, their human capital, and then nurturing themselves and taking care of themselves, and we are having 5, 6, within the same 24 hours, even the time constraint to take care of them, it's an issue, you know. So, I mean, we just have to know what we want.
Let me go to the phone and speak to Kojo Sedeka, who is an economic specialist. Let's get his input on this. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Doc, good
evening.
Good evening. The issue of population keeps cropping up, but as Ghanaians, we are not very comfortable about talking about population because one of our culture, one because of our religion, but we are doing 2.5% as a population growth. You're an economic specialist. I mean, is this something that the economy can manage, or are you for a policy to say that, listen, every family or every woman, for your first 3 children, you can enjoy our culture of free. After that, you pay for it. I mean, where do you stand on that?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think when it comes to culture and religious issues, I will have some challenges getting into that area because after this, maybe my church pastor may call me and say, what are you talking about? But regardless of that, in actual fact, it is always ideal for people to have families that they can manage. If you have a family that is way beyond your financial resources, it puts strains on you, and also it puts some strain on the national economy as well. A population growth of 2.5, I may not say it is just too much to say. What therefore it means that what the policy direction that the Population Council is looking at for a family to have 3 kids tie into that, so therefore probably reduce the growth rate to about 2. And in our culture, we did say that when you are giving birth to you need to replace yourself. So therefore, if you have 3, you have replaced yourself and add 1 to it. But we must also be very careful what population style we adopt. Right now, Japan is having a population reset, and they are worried about it because most of them are not getting married and they are not having kids. And so if you have a large aging population, it's also a challenge for the economy.
Doc, let me come here quick before you continue. I was doing a little research, and there wasn't one country in this world that's growing 2% and above that has anything to write home about. Not one. Apart from a couple like Bahrain or something.
In actual fact, the development of Ghana has much to do than the population.
Okay.
And for that matter, most developing countries. What challenges we face has much more to do with how we manage our resources, more than the population that we have.
Is it not the issue where we are using our resources in pro-poor policies?
I would say no, that is not why.
Okay.
Because the pro-poor policies are necessary. Some other developed countries also have pro-poor policies. For example, United Kingdom has a pro-poor policy. Mm-hmm. That is why you find people living in council flats. And that is why people live on social welfare. They are all pro-poor policies.
Okay.
Yes. But what we are having, if it comes to resource management, we have waste. And also we have all other things that do not inure to the benefits of everybody. Mm-hmm. Our growth is not inclusive, and therefore we find a way of creating some social network for people to be in. And that is one challenge that we have. So we can't just tie the development or underdevelopment of our country to population issues necessarily.
Doc, hold on 1 second, because I have Dr.Appiah, Executive Director of National Population Counseling here. I'm sure you will have to respond. She'll have to respond to one of the. Well, Doc doesn't think the population is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doc. Doc is talking about Japan aging population, and I say that aging is a sign of success. If your healthcare is not very well developed, you don't age. You know,
you drop off. You
drop off before you age. So aging is a sign of success. It's just like moving away from obesity to, cachexia. That is when you've lost too much weight. You have to go through the normal weight before you come down. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't jump from obesity to underweight. You have to go through normal before you can. So you see, you just have to know where to stay within. When you get to the normal, you do what it takes to stay within.
But he thinks now, that our problem has got nothing to do with the population.
Yes, okay. Yeah. So that is it. I mean, you spoke about aging, that Japan is aging and now they have an issue. And I'm saying that aging is a sign of success. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have the luxury of aging. Now, you talked about resources. Now, why is it that all our gold mines, all our petrol, fuel, people have to come to do the exploration for us? Is it not the human resource? Is it not the human beings that developed those machineries that we bring here to come and mine? Are they better than us? When the fertility rates were high globally in the 18th century, nobody was drilling oil. It's when the fertility started coming down and they invested in the human resources. Then, you know, so you see, so our human resources, when they drill the gold and the oil, how much do we get? How much do we get?
You are saying that if the population grows too much, you can't turn it into capital.
It is difficult to turn into capital because capital, I mean, capital takes time, and then you need capital to turn capital. You get it? If, for instance, Boeing in Seattle decides to come and set up Boeing here, the plane, to build a plane, how many people will we get employed in that factory to build the planes? You see, a population, if you look at our reports, for instance, 80% of us are buying and selling. And if we are buying and selling, it means that we are supporting the economies of those producers. It's production that develops economy, not buying and selling. You know.
And so, Doc, let me bring Dr. Sadega.
Nana.
Yeah.
You know, I want to chip in one or two things regarding what the doctor is saying.
Sure.
Yes, we have been doing mining for more than 100 years, but nobody stopped us to develop our human capacity. And we cannot say we were not able to develop our human capacity because we have a population growth of 2.5. That cannot be the case. What can only be the case is that we did not have policy to develop our human capacity. That is the bottom line.
Dr. Sadeka, sorry but when your population explodes, does it not compromise quality? Because as soon as you start growing, the first thing you compromise on is quality. Okay, you study under tree. Okay, you use a torchlight to give birth. Okay, you know, like quality suffers. Could that be a result if the population explodes?
Yes, I agree that when you have a population explosion, but you cannot call an explosion.
Okay.
That is a fact. When you have a population explosion, then you can say that is a big task as how your resources will cope with. But the fact is that 2.5 it's a bit high, but you cannot call that an explosion. That is one point.
Okay.
Now, secondly, we have a demographic change over time. And we realize that we have not been taking advantage of our demographic and yield some demographic dividends. We have a bulging youth. What do you do with youth? And with this digital era, there is the need, therefore, to ensure that we tap into the population growth and have the population dividend. But we are not doing that. Yes, well, we can record that our primary education is growing. Our health statistics is growing. We can also say our life expectancy has increased to 64, but we have not really taken advantage of the population growth that we are having. And I still believe that, well, there is a need to check population, but there is also the need to manage the resources that we have and be able to ensure that the development that we have, the growth and the development that we have, is very inclusive. If we do not do that, we can't just go and blame it on population. Our population is just 30 million. But what we have, as compared to what other countries have, we have more than they have. But one, there are a lot of factors that are playing around our development. Even how we play within the international market is also an issue. How we even negotiate contracts is also an issue. How we even give tax waivers in that contract is also an issue. How we even do our tax policies to be able to generate more tax revenue for our development, they are all issues. But I don't think that population that we have 2.5 now, it is the biggest issue that we have. And for me, it is one of the minutiae that we really to be thinking about. It is good to have a population policy in place to make sure that we not get to explosion level. That is fine. But we can't just blame our development of population.
Doctor, thank you very much.
Want to ask you,
okay, I say thank you for the input because
yes.
I want to take some of the calls from outside too. But yeah, let me.
Yes, I just want to ask Doctor a question. I know I'm a medical doctor. He's an economist. So if you can just tell us the relationship between population growth and GDP growth, for instance, you understand? At what rate should the GDP grow to catch up? I mean, what is the relationship between the population growth rate and the
Doc, do you know
how the economy grows?
Okay.
At what rate should we grow to?
This is basic. Now we have a GDP growth rate of it has been revised to 6.9%. So if you have a GDP growth rate of 6.9% and your population growth rate is 2.5, what does that tell? You are growing economically more than the population even. But the problem is that growth that we are having, who are benefiting from that growth?
Doc, are you saying that for every 1% growth in GDP, you can have 1% growth in population?
No, not necessarily so.
Oh, okay.
But why I'm saying this is that he's asking that the population growth that we are having, which is it commensurate to the growth that we are having? And I'm saying that we are growing. The economy is growing at 6.9%.
So it should be able to. It should be able to absorb the population. That's what you're saying.
We should be able to absorb the population. That is why I'm saying who is benefiting from that growth. That is what we need to look at. If we are able to look at who is benefiting from that growth and be able to distribute the growth appropriately, we will not be talking about population issue now. Okay.
Okay, Doc, thank you very much. I wish there was more time, but I really want to get the input on the phone as well. 0302 211 691 0302 211 691. Let me hear you at home. I wanted to also find out from, well, you see, Prof is thinking that there's a lot of gold and diamond and stuff here that should be able to look after us.
Yes,
but the issue is we don't know how to use it.
Well, because we have to have the skill to tap it, you know. And now we're talking about Rwanda now being the star of Africa. And Rwanda has put effective population and economic management as #1. Because, yes, that is that. I mean, if you read Rwanda's policy, you can have a look at it. That is what they have done, you know. So they have contraceptive prevalence rate targets. Between 2005 and 2010, they took the contraceptive prevalence rate up from 10% to 45%, you know, and they have a target of about, I think, 90% by 2019, because they know that that is important. And that is why we are saying Rwanda is all that. You know, look at the Asians, Eastern Asia. The teenage pregnancy rate in Eastern Asia is 7 per 1,000 teenagers. 7 per 1,000 teenagers. And we are 140 per 1,000 teenagers. That is, I mean, the national figure. It's all the human resource, you know. Look at some of our indicators. A quarter of our people live below 1,500 annually, a year. And they have more children.
So that's an extra burden.
So that's an extra burden, you know. So I think we just have to look at the inequality and not just look at, I mean, in totality.
Let me speak to Amidou in Sunyani. Hello, Amidou.
Good evening.
Good evening. Let me hear your position quick on this one.
It's like we are missing the point. You see, let's pick the health insurance. But they are saying the aged, if you are aged, you are around age 70, you can benefit it free. The same aged, when you go to youth employment, they are benefiting it from there. So that means that they are cheating the system at the same time.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. 0302. Hello, who do I have on the phone? Okay, that was a different one. Yeah, he's 70, but he's on youth employment, and he's benefiting from NHIS as well. Somebody says that well, the government should stop the free things and fertility will automatically drop. Well, people may die. I have a Samuel in Takwa. Hello, Samuel. Samuel?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, Samuel, let me hear you. Oh, you have to reduce your TV.
Yeah,
Samuel,
hello.
reduce your TV because of timing. I need to move on to Raman. Raman is in Tamale. Hello, Raman. Okay, I missed. The line dropped for Raman as well. But the economy, the doctor was adamant that, look, we should be able to handle, as an economist, we should be able to handle 2.5. So I can see where the challenge will be, where you MPC writing a proposal to government to say, look, check the growth, and the economists will say, oh, no. Don't worry about the growth. 2.5 is not, we can absorb it.
You see, as a doctor too, you have to think about the health implications, because it is important that everybody has a good start.
Sorry, Tibatin. Let me go to Kumasi. Hello, Peter. Peter in Kumasi. We dropped the call dropped. Oh, sorry about that. Calls are dropping. It's 0302211691 or 692. I really want to test the waters out there and see what the feeling is as to whether we are reducing our numbers or we are maintaining our numbers. Health-wise, you think it will be better generally?
Yes, of course. You know, because you see,
if the woman may be strong and think, look, I can have 8. I'm strong.
Yes, but then even feeding the children is also an issue. You understand? Because cognitive development, physical development, I mean, food is medicine. So the first 1,000 days of anybody's life is critical. That is when foundations are laid, you know. So it's also important. You can have somebody, the person is not dead, but I mean, physical development, cognitive development is compromised. So then how do you get the best out of that?
Okay, let me try Victor. Probably, Victor, you're going to be my last caller, so hopefully I'll get you. Hello, Victor Labadi.
Yes, my name is Victor.
Good, let me hear you.
Yeah, linking this population issue with the SSS, the number of people who qualify to enter the SS entrance, I think that it's important that we look at our boarding house issues. We have huge number of schools around, and it appears that boarding house is causing a lot of problems. Why don't we take all of them around and make them day students? We start from class 1 from home, class 6 from home, JSS from home, only to go to boarding house when we are entering the senior high. You need to look at it. Those days that Kwame Nkrumah brought the SSS issue just to unify this, the issue is now over. Everybody knows everywhere. So it's important that we concentrate on education within our own communities, so that if we are going to university and we are going outside, it will be appropriate. Don't let us confine the huge sums of money in the boarding house.
Victor,
if you take Atimosa, for example.
Victor, let me engage you here a little bit before you go. Right, look at how the numbers increase. Right, 2017. This is a SH1 student population. Right, and listen, look at how they go up. 2017, 592,127. 2018, 637,433. 2019, 682,192. By 2020, estimation 732,117. You think it's sustainable?
Well, if we are moving from home to school, it's sustainable. Look at Atmota.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because of time, thank you very much. But Doc, the
issue is that, you see, every economic development is as good as your educational system. Education is important. In education, we have stakeholders. The parents are there, the teachers are there, the government, and then the child. There's a nephew who tells me that in the school in which he teaches, there's a woman who has a child in class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, 5, up to 6, and she's pregnant again.
Oh dear.
So which PTA will she attend? Which homework will she do?
Well, the conversation has started. Let's see where it will end. But thank you very much for watching. Doc, thank you very much for coming in. And like I said, we'll always be back to do this again. Thank you.